Here we see the honey badger in his native habitat, roaming the frozen tundra of One Arrowhead Stadium in the heart of the Midwest. A late January scavenge, it will be his last hunt of the season in this colder climate, as he will soon be migrating to the warmer beaches of Miami. This majestic creature is almost fearless and will attack other predators more than 50 pounds its own body weight. Here it is seen taking down a Derrick Henry, plump and bloated after dining on ravens and aging feeble goat just weeks prior. Even in the face of such terrifying opponents, the honey badger remains a majestic creature and won't back down. Showing off a remarkable blend of speed and power, this formidable predator is most well known for not caring and not giving an F. Unbeknownst to most, however, it possesses a trait more commonly associated with the great elephants of Africa. For you see, a honey badger never, ever forgets. Join us on this, the anatomy of the play. Welcome back to another episode of Anatomy of the Play. I'm glad you stuck around through my terrible impersonation of David Attenborough. If you made it this far, congrats. But today, as you may have guessed from the intro, we will be going over a play involving none other than Tyrann Mathieu, the honey badger. Now, this play takes place about early on in the second quarter with about 10 minutes left, and the Chiefs trailing by 3. The Titans do have the ball for this. And I went over this play instead of the most popular play on the poll I put out, which was the Patrick Mahomes touchdown run, mostly for two different reasons. One, this Patrick Mahomes touchdown run was everyone's favorite play, and I feel like at this point, as I'm getting this video out a little bit later, it was kind of done to death at this point. Everyone's kind of been over it. We all know what happened on that play, and I don't feel like there's much of a need to go over it again. It was a fantastic scramble, but I feel like this play is a little bit more interesting to go over, and it's interesting for two reasons. For the first one, Tyrann Mathieu absolutely wallops a wide receiver. It was a really fun play to watch live in the stadium. But also, number two, after the game, Tyrann Mathieu actually discussed on an interview how he recognized the play due to it being run on the Chiefs all the way back in Week 14 over the New England Patriots. So we'll go over this play again, about 10 minutes left to go in the second quarter, and you'll see why I enjoy it so much. We'll kind of watch this play completely. We see the Titans kind of motion their wide receiver into a fullback tight end position and throw it to him. And we get to this spot. And before we can go really any further, we really have to rewind the clock all the way back to Week 14 to figure out how we got here and what's going on. So we'll go all the way back to that New England game at New England. And this play happened early on in the fourth quarter, I believe. And it was a very controversial play. Harry actually scored on this play, but was ruled out of bounds, denying the Patriots 7 points. Instead, they ended up kicking a field goal after they were stopped in the red zone after this. And it's controversial for quite a few other reasons as well. But we'll get into what happened in this play and what's going on. We'll watch the play out in its entirety. And as you watch the play, you can already kind of tell it's very, very similar to the Titans play. It's almost exactly the same, to be honest. And as we watch Harry kind of scramble and be marked down at the 3 there as he dives for the end zone, we'll go over what happened in that play. The first thing we'll do is go over the coverages like I normally do. And in this play, the first thing I thought was the Chiefs are in a cover 1. And the cover 1, for those of you who don't remember, you have a single high safety playing the zone in the back, basically going and covering anything that kind of gets out of the way of everyone else playing man. So everyone else is on a single individual wide receiver, running back, or tight end. And then you have someone playing kind of that robber hole position that helps with any crossing routes, just a zone coverage right there. So again, man underneath and zone over. That's at least what they're showing. And what I thought happened at first. When you go over these plays, it's very, very difficult when they're very quick passes and they're one redesign plays to kind of tell what coverage the defense is. And I watched this play over and over again and kept changing my mind on what I thought the coverage was. And I think I found out what it really is. So we'll show that coverage here next on what I believe that they're actually doing. And I actually believe they're in a cover 3. Spagnuolo loves his cover 3. He loves to also disguise that cover 3. In cover 3, you have your two cornerbacks that are going to drift all the way back and cover the back zones. The way a zone coverage works is that each player takes a portion of the field to cover, and really that field is divided into two areas: your front section closer to the line, and your back section that's closer to the end zone. And really, these sections do include the end zone as well, but for drawing it out's sake, it's a little easier to do that way. So your two cornerbacks are going to drop all the way back into the back zone, covering these areas. And then you have four players underneath playing the shallow zones here. You've got Sorensen, your safety down here, that's going to be playing that zone. You have a linebacker playing closer to the line in the middle, another one right there. And then Tyrann Mathieu kind of drifting out and playing that outside shallow zone there. So the reason why you need shallow zones, typically more often why you see 4, 5 zones versus 2, 1, whatever it happens to be, is because it takes longer to throw the ball to those areas. So players can cover a lot more ground than the shorter throws that take less time and it's harder to get to as quickly. Now we'll also kind of watch the route concept here and what the Patriots are doing on offense. We'll kind of go back there and go over it here again. So, as you see, they're going to fake the handoff to the running back. Everyone's going to block downhill like they're blocking for a run that goes to the right side of the field here. You've got your target wide receiver, really the only target on this play that's going to motion to that tight end fullback position, and then jot across the line opposite of that running back, catch the ball right here and turn and go upfield. Really, he's not designed to take that route, but that's the route he does take. Then you have your two other wide receivers. Their job is to get their cornerbacks out of the way. You have one running a go route and then blocking, and the other one going to kind of cut to the outside here and block as well. Hopefully take Tyrann Mathieu that way. And it's important to know the zone coverages and what they see, because really for either one of those, this play would work and draw together. But we'll watch a little bit farther and kind of go over what this play is designed to do in general. So again, they motion that wide receiver closer to the line of scrimmage before they hike the ball. And almost as soon as he gets back there, we actually see a little bit of miscommunication going on there between Sorensen and Breland, the quarterback, and everything. But this is what this play is designed to do. Again, that running back and everyone blocking down will draw the defense to one side of the field, the defensive left side of the field, offensive right side of the field. So everyone should be cutting down over in general, including the safety there, who should cheat to the left side of the field over this way to kind of cut the running back in case he escapes kind of the teeth of the defense here. Now, the beauty of this play is it's also designed to do two more other things, is to take your cornerbacks out of the play. Your outside cornerback, Ward, here is going to drift and go down the field with the assignment. Again, he's in the zone coverage there. Whether it was zone or man, he would be following that wide receiver down. Same thing with Mathieu. Mathieu has the outside zone, and that wide receiver is going to cut down and across, make contact, and clear the way for your right wide receiver now in that tight end position to open up. You can kind of see all the room he has there as everyone drifts down and away, and everyone's drifting in different directions. He would be able to catch it and run and turn upfield and actually get a pretty good gain, maybe that 10 yards, maybe not the end zone. But we'll kind of see why it was almost a touchdown as well and what happened differently. So again, that you see everyone start to drift down one way, everyone's cutting in for the most part. And to be fair, your safety up here is actually doing a pretty good job keeping it in his zone and not moving back or forward. If he was in cover one, he would most likely be cheating to this side. However, because he feels that his two cornerbacks are going to be dropping back to this angle, he can keep his center spot without much fear of losing the running back or the wide receivers there. So continuing it on, this play doesn't go necessarily according to plan because of two players. First of all, I want to highlight what went wrong and why it was a good play for the Patriots. All it takes in zone coverage is for one player to be out of position. We can see those players here, the cornerbacks and the safety, all in their deep zones, about where they're supposed to be. Sorensen is making contact with the tight end there, but is also going to be kind of following him this way if he likes to go that way. If it's a pass play, if it's a run, he'll crash down. You see Honey Badger kind of still in the area of his zone right there. And then you see your two inside linebackers. Now, they were both being drawn down and in here. So still one in their zone. The other one, though, this side is very, very far away from where he is supposed to be. That's what that play action did. It drew him in way too far. And it put Tyrann Mathieu in kind of a predicament. Now he's making contact with his wide receiver right here, but he doesn't follow him. He doesn't allow him to get to the outside, so he doesn't bring him to the zone. It puts him in still a predicament, though, because he has to pick whether to take the outside zone and allow the wide receiver to cut in, or the inside zone and allow the wide receiver cut to the outside. Frank Clark has also noticed the play developing. These are the two players that have noticed what's going on. And it's important to note because they're the two free agent acquisitions by the Chiefs this year. Shows kind of their leadership and how they've taken this team to the next level on defense. So Frank Clark's identified that. Tyrann Mathieu's identified what's going on. But it still really doesn't work the Chiefs' way. Again, because you have that inside linebacker out of position, Frank Clark decides to jump the pass and almost gets to it here. But because he jumps the pass and just misses it, now there is no one left on that wide receiver. The linebacker is way out of position. Tyrann Mathieu's being blocked. He elects to go inside instead of out and is actually blocked in the back here. Not called, but it forces just a slip of a tackle because of that block in the back, allows Harry to get outside. He breaks the tackle and is able to tiptoe his way close to the end zone there, marked out at the 3, but really in the end zone. So that's what happened on that Patriot play. Now let's take that and go back and go over what we see here on the Titans play and what would different. The Titans look very, very similar. One noticeable difference is that Sorensen's a little bit deeper than he was on the last play, but still all pretty close. You have that single high safety again drifting a little bit more to the right, but overall it still looks to be a single high safety look, possibly cover 3 once again as well. But that's not what's going on here. For you see, the Chiefs actually baited the Titans into this play. They gave them a false look, a similar look that they were used to. And instead of being in a cover 3 or a cover 1 with man underneath, they're actually in a cover 2 from what I can tell here. So you have two safeties both playing the back here and a lot more people in the closer zone. Again, that helps kind of disperse that play. Tyrann Mathieu doesn't have to make the decision here whether he has to cover the outside or inside zone, even if these two players are drawn in, because he's only responsible for that one and the outside zone's already covered. So that's not a concern for him here. On this time, instead of actually just blocking, the tight end does run a route. And it's important to note here because Sorensen actually jumps a little bit over the top here because that tight end is taking kind of that area where no man's land in the zone. Sorensen makes a judgment call and goes for it down there. The communication on this play is also done really well. You'll see the Titans pull the exact same maneuver again, trying to draw one down and one over. You see this play is nearly exactly the same, and the Chiefs show. And this is one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite plays, is because the Chiefs actually show a look to get the Titans to call a play and then jump into a different look. It's one of the reasons why Spagnuolo is so great at calling coverages, and it also highlights Tyrann Mathieu as well and his ability to make this play. Because as we see, if you follow along here, you'll see they actually said a little bit earlier here, but he'll cut across. Again, the same thing's going on. And two players I want to point out once again. So now we see your safety in the top over here, able to cover that one. Ward will communicate with him, and I'll slow it down again as we go, so he can take that shallow zone here, passing that player off. Tyrann Mathieu does not make contact. You can already see this player is a little bit confused because and knows that something's going wrong with this play because Tyrann Mathieu doesn't jam him at the line like it was previously done. That frees Tyrann Mathieu to make a straight beeline to the receiver. The other player I want to highlight is Frank Clark's over here. We actually have K-Pass on this side over here. And instead of trying to jump the play, he actually kind of disrupts the timing before going for the quarterback right there. So we'll see him kind of jam the wide receiver, head to the quarterback, gives him an extra second for Tyrann Mathieu to make that play and hit right there. And as we see, each one of these receivers is covered up as well. There was great communication here because they knew what the play was going on, and Tyrann Mathieu was free to make that intelligent play by not jamming the wide receiver at the line, not getting caught up in that traffic because he can rely on his teammates. And the whole team has kind of grown in intelligence from a football standpoint on what's going on throughout the course of the season. And they've done a great job at it. And I feel really, really bad for not really letting you watch any of Tyrann Mathieu's hits because that's the best part. So we're going to watch just kind of a montage of these hits because it was, again, probably my favorite defensive play from the game as well. So it's not completely dead air. I'll continue to talk here a little bit. I hope you enjoyed this so far. And I just hope you enjoy seeing the intelligence of the defense grow, seeing what Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark bring to this team, and how they can communicate with one another in the secondary, and how it's grown and how they become a championship caliber defense. Until next time, I'll see you after the Super Bowl.